The Chiropractic Philanthropist, episode 244.
I have this sick, compelling problem to want to serve our chiropractic profession and keep us true to who we are.
Starting your own practice is hard for many chiropractors. It's riddled with both struggles and successes. But here at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we make it easy by having chiropreneurs and entrepreneurs share their struggles and lessons learned in life and business so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And now here's your host, Dr. Ed Osborne.
My guest today on the Chiropractic Philanthropist is Dr. Paul Reed. Dr. Reed has not only built one successful practice, but he has built 5 successful practices. Dr. Paul Reed is also the organizer and creator of ChiroFEST. And if you want to check out ChiroFEST, head over to chirofest.org, and you can learn a little bit more about that incredible event that's going to be coming up this November. Now, Dr. Reed is an incredible coach, mentor, and speaker in the chiropractic profession, and he continually lives and teaches the above, down, inside out lifestyle. Now, today's episode is sponsored by ChiroClicker. ChiroClicker is the world's first chiropractic adjusting tool for kids. It allows children to play chiropractors at home, pretending to adjust their family and all their teddies and dolls. Chiropractors can buy the ChiroClicker in bulk and sell them in their office or give them away to practice members. TCP listeners get a 10% discount by using the coupon code TCP10. That's TCP10. Head over to chiroclicker.com and get your ChiroClickers today. ChiroClicker, nurturing the next generation of chiropractors. Paul, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing amazing, Brother Ed. How are you?
I always say this, but every episode I say I'm excited, but I am excited. This has been about a year, maybe more in coming. We've been trying to get this done for you. So I'm excited to have you.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Well, I can tell you right now, this is probably going to be one of the highest downloaded episodes that TCP has ever had. We got some really great conversation and discussion today, especially going to talk a little bit about ChiroFEST and how you're supporting the profession. I want to learn a little bit more about the story behind that too.
Yeah.
Doc, before we get started, tell us a little bit about you as a person, as a chiropractor, though.
As a person, as a chiropractor, man, I had my very first chiropractic adjustment when I was 14. And I like to share the story from stage that, chiropractic connects man the physical with man the spiritual. And I, at that very instant, got up from the table and divinely knew that I was to be a chiropractor. Met my wife, or my current wife, the next year, and shared that story, how it inspired me. And that's what I wanted to do when I was done with my sports career. And here we are, man. I'm almost 19 years into practice. We have 5 practices down in the southern Washington area. We're sharing the chiropractic story and encouraging my docs to step up and play big in our community and saving spines and changing minds one at a time. So
I love it. I got to ask you this question though. At times, even when I was in practice, I'd be like, a satellite office, another office. I'd consider those things, and I hummed and hawed about it, and ended up in just basically staying where we were and focusing on the practice we had, and then a whole bunch of other stuff came up. Yeah. But for you, not only did you go, look, I'm going to start another practice, but then after you started 2 practice, like had 2, then you go, no, wait, I'm going to start another one. What was going through your mind when you say, now that you have 5 practices going?
I was super excited. There's times, there's seasons of challenge, I guess I would say, where I'm like, what was I thinking? But I'm really trying to stay true to what was placed in my heart to do. Just knowing that it's struggle is for the strong, and not everybody would have that put on their plate if they couldn't handle it. So knowing that the end outcome will be beneficial, even though sometimes while you're going through the mud, it's not so much fun. But so I honestly knew that I was limited by time and matter, and I could only serve and adjust so many people. And I wanted the same chiropractic message shared in my community. And so the method, the madness is that we need to expand to become the Starbucks to share that same unified message across our community for chiropractic. And so that's why I'm there and why I'm digging in and pushing forward.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. I mean, when this is a perfect transition into our quotes and affirmations and things that we like to share on TCP. I mean, struggle is for the strong. I wrote that down. That's a great one to begin with. But although I know you have another one prepared for docs today.
Yeah, one of my, this quote was given to me in high school. One of my coaches said, prior planning prevents poor performance. And or you can say piss poor performance. I think I'm allowed to say that on this show, right? So it could either be five P's or 6 P's, however you want to look at it. But it's really is that, take action. And I also live by the fire, ready, aim method, which I believe you're of the same manner and mindset with that. But the prior planning, right? You gotta know where you're going, gotta have a roadmap, and then you just gotta move. So the prior planning prevents poor performance is something that I try and teach my kids, and something that I myself do my best to live by.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you agree, but it's almost impossible to plan for everything.
Oh, it's 100% impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I like to have people who are successful chiropractors such as yourself, who I'm sure you've experienced struggle and been in the ditch, but to come on the show and just be a reflection of, look, here's the possibility of what other chiropractors who are struggling right now could create. But Doc, what would you say? Like if I asked you today, and I mean, we've all had struggle. I mean, past, present, definitely is going to be the future. But what would you say right now? What is it that you would like to share in terms of like the struggles, the time that you fell flat on your face with docs?
It's having everybody. You mean in regards to like the docs that work with me? Is that what you're asking?
Could be in practice, could be in life. Yeah. Anything at all that, I mean, right now the voice is speaking to you to share with docs.
Yeah, so the docs, I think that the biggest struggle I found in the docs that I've coached within my practices is really holding them true to why they became a chiropractor. I think folks get out and get beat up a little bit, and their skin gets a little soft instead of staying firm and congruent with who they are, and they start to alter their story and not staying true to who they are and why they're doing what they're doing. And so I would say a struggle that I've found, and that would be true with me too. I mean, chiropractic's not easy. It's not for the weak at heart. And when you're standing on your podium screaming your message, and you got 9 people looking back at you like you're off your rocker, like what are you talking about? You got to develop that certainty and confidence in who you are and your principles and your message and your belief patterns, and it's doesn't come without discomfort and chafing and challenge, and sometimes you're on a run, you're like, what am I thinking? This is hard. What am I, there's a lot easier roads, but it comes back to really staying true to what was, again, your vision you had as a young child laying in the grass when you first, had this Genesis dream, your Genesis moment of wanting to become a chiropractor and change people's lives from the inside out. And so it's helping anchor myself and or docs that work with me, for me, or whomever I've coached to anchor to that original Genesis moment of like, I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to be a great chiropractor. I'm going to serve people and help them live the lives that they intend to live. And we get beat up, kicked down and battered. And it's tough to, but we chiropractors are strong-willed, and it's our responsibility to fight on and carry that torch of above, down, inside out healing. So I would say that my current state, that's probably the biggest difficulty with my docs.
That's interesting too, and I used to think when I was, again, in the ditch as the chiropractor practicing, I'm like, yeah, okay, other chiropractors get this. And then we have that saying is in the philanthropist that we are all more alike than we are different. And I think, we all do experience struggle in it, whether it's our business, our practice, clinical, whatever it might be, family. However, it's not a narrative that I haven't heard before. It's actually, as I move further and further into other like entrepreneurial space, I actually see that this is actually really just common in life and business. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, right? It's taking the road less traveled, and facing the challenge, facing the difficulty, and having greater reward on the backside from trudging through it. So
yeah, and I hope docs who are in the ditch, that can hear that today and actually take solace from that and go, look, yeah, it could be difficult right now, but we all do experience that at some point, and then we all come out the end. So Doc, I'd love to talk about the flip side. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum. What's truly amazing that's going on right now for you? I know you got a big event coming up. Tell us a little bit about ChiroFEST.
ChiroFEST was birthed out of a vision. I had coached for a long time, and then started a philosophy group. And I'm like, I have this sick, compelling problem to want to serve our chiropractic profession and keep us true to who we are. And that's really what happened with it. I was like, I attended Billy's first event, Cal Jam, and I was like, brother, let's do this 6 months apart. Let's start another one in the Northwest. And he was still in the infancy of his program and really buckling down and growing it. And he's like, hey man, I'm not ready for that. I want to max this out. You go do your own thing. And we were in Utah talking about it at the time. At one of Jim Tempo's events, so his birth. I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to do my own thing, and that's really how ChiroFEST was birthed. It was, the first year was literally in my backyard, or not my backyard, but a patient's backyard in my neighborhood. He has 50 acres, and we threw up some tents, went old school Lyceum. Poured down rain. It's supposed to be September around the anniversary of chiropractic and should be beautiful, but it poured down rain. But it was an unforgettable event, and we just have nurtured it and watered it, and it's grown to what it is today. So
it's that almost takes me back to the BJ and the PT Barnum days, I guess, that they had, right?
Yeah, and that's really what I and that's what I wanted to do. I was like, hey, we're gonna do. That's exactly right. We didn't have elephants, but it was, that's really the vision I had with the original one was under a tent. We had fires going and beers in the back, and it was a true chiropractic festival or celebration. And I really, to want to reach more people, I'm like, I had asked some folks, like, you got to bring it inside to reach more people. But you never know, man. It's on my heart again. We're back in my backyard, and maybe a tent is in our near future.
Well, I love it. I mean, and any of the docs who are listening that don't know what you and I are talking about, they're like, what is it talking about, PT Barnum and all that? You got to do some history research on BJ, and yeah. So who are the speakers that are coming out this year?
We have a gang. So there's 22 of us this year. It is going to be off the hook. 99% of us are chiropractors that are going to be sharing, but I have a couple outside chiropractors or non-chiropractors. I have Andy Wakefield coming this year. Wow. So we're super excited about Andy being there. Also have Commander Mark Devine of Seal Fit. So he's going to come and really, the principle of having him there is to really rattle some cages of the docs in the audience and the Cs in the audience. Navy SEALs, they're few of them, but they make a huge impact, and I think it really correlates to chiropractors and our chiropractic message. There's not a lot of us, right, compared to the other industries and whatnot, but we can make a big thumbprint in this world if we all buckle down and do what we're designed to do. Also have Jack Wolfson, cardiopaleologist, is coming.
Nice.
To share his message of healing. But then, chiropractors, we have Dr. Denise, Dane Donahue's sister, Avery Martin, a guy that's up there close to you now on the northern Washington, Canada border. Dr. Brett Jones, Pat Jen Tempo, Krista Burns, the Posture Institute, Matt Menino from down in Arizona, Stephen Franson, Renee Lopez, pediatric gal, Jason Deitch, Alan Miner, I already said Andy, Billy D, Pam Jarbo, Joe Tilley, Kathy Colby, Joe Borio, Roberto Monaco, Brad Golacki, Guy Reekman. Is the lineup. So we got some stellar folks coming to share and help everybody, show up on Monday at their offices and play a little bigger than they when they left on Thursday.
Yeah, that's a heck of a lineup, and that's a really, I like this too because that's an eclectic group, man. I mean, you got marketers to just basically everyone's pretty much the leaders in the profession right now, and some outside the profession too, but real inspirations. I love it.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. I feel real blessed. We're trying to again rally the troops to go home and play bigger on Monday. So it should be a great deal.
And what's the date on that?
It is November 4th and 5th this year, down in beautiful, the other Vancouver, Washington, or Washington, as some people outside of the state say. Mm-hmm. But so down in the most southern part of Washington, right next to Portland, beautiful Portland, Oregon.
Awesome. So I'm gonna give docs a little bit of direction right now. So if you head over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com, we're going to have a webpage dedicated to our discussion with Dr. Paul Reed today, and we'll have clickable links and resources where you can actually head over and actually sign up today. So you can actually make sure if you have to get your plane tickets, get your hotel, so that you can actually attend this incredible event. This is going to be one you won't want to miss. And Dr. Paul, you've also got a little bit of a gift for docs as well that are linking through and registering for TCP listeners.
Absolutely. So for following you and supporting you, and being your avid listeners, we'll do if they go to the website to register and put in the code TCP all caps. We'll do a $75 off each registration that you do through the end of September.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. It pays to be brother. Yeah, it pays to be a TCP listener, apparently.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It always does. You're stretching people, man. You're helping them grow, and that's what that's about. So.
Well, I mean, I got to tell you, it's pretty incredible when it's incredible to see chiropractors who are doing this too, but where you can have people that such as yourself, I can make those connections, be sitting here in Victoria, British Columbia, speaking to you today and speaking to chiropractors all over the world. I really do feel like, TCP is starting to bring the profession closer together. So, yeah.
Definitely great. You're creating a tipping point. I mean, it's good. And it's, you're doing good stuff. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. So let's go into Back to the Future. So this part of this segment of TCP, what we're going to do, Dr. Paul, is I'm going to actually send you back to a younger version of yourself. And yeah, that's right. I know this is like right after chiropractic college. Okay. So you got that life experience you have today. You have all the knowledge you have today, but what would you say to your younger self, and this is the younger self that just walked straight out of chiropractic college?
Yeah. What would I say to myself? Mm-hmm. I would tell myself to worry less about the ones that don't want to hear your story.
Wow. Okay.
I was kind of the guy that, I had 99 miracles and I was worried about the one frustrated, unhappy person, right? What I later learned some folks call gap living, where I was just in that gap of like, what did I do wrong? What did I not say right? What, I was so I don't want to say giving so much, but so concerned that people understood the chiropractic message and how we could help them through what we do, that I would, lay at bed at night like, what if, honestly, what if could I done different? Could I done a different adjustment? Could I done my reporting findings different? My exam, where did I go wrong? Why did they not understand my principles or my message I was trying to help them understand? And sometimes it's really had nothing to do, looking back now as an older me, a more mature me, or a more understanding me, it probably had absolutely zero to do with the message. It was probably just the timing for that person at that moment. And that really was not for me to decide. It was for between them and their creator to decide what they wanted to do. So I think if I go back to a younger me, I would say, don't sweat the small stuff. Stay true to who you are. Keep doing what you do, and press forward. And I learned from a doc up in the Seattle area. He said, "Some will, some won't. Who cares? And who's next?" But I was young enough. I didn't really truly listen to that. I still would beat myself up over the person that didn't want to start care and didn't understand what chiropractic was. So.
Yeah, I love that. That reminds me of when I first started practice. And I remember when I first started practice and working with more and more people and having those moments of holy shit, this actually works.
Right.
Like, oh my God, like I went through school, I did it, I graduated, I've experienced care myself, but I've never, the adjustment, but I've never, it's still, you're just like, wow, oh my God, this stuff really works. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, you almost take those miracles for granted.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like whereas we should be grateful and really just soak up like the power of the adjustment. Every time someone comes in and tells you, how they they had a better sleep, or their child, was constipated. I mean, we start to take those for granted, I think. So awesome advice. So what would you say, before we kind of wrap things up, I'm going to ask you one more question, and it really is, what would you say is the person who influenced you the most right now on whether, maybe as a chiropractor today or as a person today, a man?
In life in general or in practice?
Sure. It could be either, I think both are related. Yeah.
I always, I'm always trying to be right there. I would honestly say that, throw it out there, Jesus. I look up, admire, and trying to do good and do the best I can every single day and be a good carrier of the message. And I would say that that's probably the most influential person that wasn't walking physically side by side with me, but helping me, know that life doesn't come without challenges, and it's not supposed to be easy, and people are going to throw stuff at you and call you names and want to crucify you, for being true to who you are. So I would say that, that's what I would say.
Thank you. And Doc, what would you say is like an invaluable resource that you'd like to drop on doctors today? Now, it could be something you're reading, like something right now that is resonating with you, you're reading through it, or it could be listening.
I just finished the book If by Mark Batterson, and it talks about how in life we are one decision away from a completely different outcome. So people go through the what ifs, as ifs, act as if, but literally, I mean, the gist of the book is that every single thought, every single action, every single movement, everything that you're doing, you're literally one thing away from a completely different outcome based on what you do. And so again, it's that prior planning, it's being present, being connected with who you are, where you're going, and getting up and doing it every day.
All right. Thank you for that. And so listeners, you can head over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com. As I mentioned, we'll have a webpage dedicated to our discussion with Dr. Paul Reed today, and clickable resources and links. So you can actually go ahead and sign up for, register and get your tickets actually for ChiroFEST, and use that discount code of TCP, and it's all caps, TCP, and get that discount. Now, if you're listening on your mobile phone, all you have to do is go ahead and actually expand open those show notes. 60% of you are listening on your mobile right now, so go ahead and do it. There's no excuse. Click on that clickable link, and you can actually sign up and get your ticket right now. Dr. Paul brought it today.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, my pleasure. This has been incredible. I love speaking to powerful chiropractors such as yourself, and thank you for giving back today.
You are so welcome. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully added some value to your peeps, man.
So you've heard the struggles, you've heard the successes, and this episode is done. But there's still so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive free practice building tips and strategies, including how to market your practice with your very own podcast and so much more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Chiropractic Philanthropist.